Welcome back to the Complete Guide to Reading Rhythms. We're on section 9.2. We're on line 1 at 110 beats per minute. We're going to start our 5-minute practice session right now. Make sure you're tapping your foot and counting as we play. As these tempos get a little bit faster, make sure you're counting as much as you possibly can, but stop to breathe. And also make sure that you're keeping your tapping or your clapping or your picking or fingering nice and low so it can be relaxed and quick as these tempos will get faster. I've also said in the past that these 16th note sections, if you're not a drummer, your goal should probably be 140. If you are high-minded, go all the way for the 160. I know there are players out there who can do it, and every instrument who can play 160 beats per minute, 16th notes and beyond. So don't let that be your limitation, but you have done well if you get to 140 beats per minute. That being said, let's keep going. Here's 110. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Line 3 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Line 5 and 2 and a 1. 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2. Line 6 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 7 and a 2 and 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 8 and a 2 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. 9 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2. 10 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. 11 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2. All right. So, some of that counting is making my hands sloppy. And I hope I'm not losing you with the counting, but some of my counting and some of my thinking about cueing you is like that little bobble I had there a second ago. Was what's going on in my head is I was thinking about how to cue you for the next line. And so I hope you're following along. I'm getting into line numbers as often as I can, but that's where my errors are coming in. And the reason I point that out is because if you are noticing that you're having little bobbles in the rhythm, you're having little difficulties where you're making a mistake, pay attention to what's going on in your mind as you make that mistake. Because often where the mistake happens is in what you were thinking right before the mistake happened. For example, when I got to line 8 there, I believe I had a little bubble in my playing, and it was because I was thinking of it was line 9. As I was finishing line 8, I was trying to think about how I was going to start line 9, and then I bobbled the beginning of line 9. So that is an important thing to think about. That's an important tip as you're practicing this and anything. If you find you're making a mistake, use that mistake for your advantage. Think about what's happening when you're making that mistake, because all of the mistakes that I am making as I practice this, and sometimes I leave them in like this, and sometimes I don't, and I do retakes, but this time I'm leaving it in because I wanted to explain the thought process idea. That's a great way to locate your mistakes. Okay, so 115 beats per minute, line 1. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Line 3 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 2 and 1 and a 2. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Line 5 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1, 2 and a 1 and 2. 6 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 2 and 7 and a 2 and 1 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 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2. All right, so I did way less cues and I didn't make a mistake. No surprise, right? So I identified my mistake and I cleared up the mistake, at least for that pass. So here's 120 beats per minute. Back to the top. Here we go. 1, 2, tapping foot, counting. Keep it nice and light. 1, 2, 1 and 2 and ready and go. 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and a 2. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and a 2 and 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 a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2. All right, we're a little more than halfway done. We're bumping it up to 125 beats per minute, and we're going to continue back to the top. Here we go. Nice and light, tapping your foot, counting as best you can. 1, 2, 1 and 2, and ready and go. 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2. 6 and a 2 and 1 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 and a 2 and 1. 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. 11 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2. All right, very nice. So we're moving right along. So again, I'm having little bobbles, and it's because of, like, I think they're at line 6. The very end of line 6, I played an extra note, right? And that's because I'm thinking of how to set up whether I can say. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stop worrying about it. But again, the reason I'm pointing that out, yes, I made a mistake, is one, I'm conscientious of my mistakes. And that's important for you too. If you don't realize you're making a mistake, you might be going too fast. You might be overstepping your abilities. But the other thing is, when you have the mistake, it's really important to identify why the mistake is happening. It does no good to dwell on the fact that you made a mistake. None at all. We're all making mistakes. Here I am, I wrote the book, I've got this practice course for you. I'm making mistakes, but I'm keeping them in the course. I have a couple of spots I've kept them, and here I'm keeping them because I want to explain about the importance of recognizing the mistake and recognizing the cause of the mistake. Okay, 130 beats per minute, here's the top. 1, 2, 1 and 2 and ready and go. And 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Line 5 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and a 2 and 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 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2. So there, I didn't think about cueing at all. I just went to play it through, and look, I didn't make a mistake, right? So 135. 1, 2, line 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. 5 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2. 6 and a 2 and 1 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 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2 and a 1 and 2. 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2. We got 9 seconds. 7, 6, 5. We're done for today. Great job. We'll pick up at 140 beats per minute tomorrow when we start again on section 9.2 of the Complete Guide to Reading Rhythms. Hey, you're making progress every day. You are taking a step forward every day. You're getting better every day. Congratulations. We'll see you tomorrow.